So let's move on to the next question, guys. In this question, we are given that a boat traveled upstream at a distance of 90 miles. So the distance is 90 miles at an average speed of v minus 3 miles an hour. So when the boat is going upstream, the average speed is v minus 3, and when the boat is going downstream, the average speed is v plus 3, right? If the trip upstream took half an hour longer than the trip downstream, so we know that the trip for the upstream took 30 more minutes than the trip downstream. So we are asked to calculate how many hours did it take to travel downstream for the boat, right? So before I proceed on with the question, uh, I hope you know what is upstream and downstream, but I'll still tell you in very brief, right? So, for example, when there is a boat, right? For example, this is water, right? And there is a boat. For example, there is a boat, right? So obviously, boat will have its own speed. For example, boat has a speed of v, for example, and obviously the water is flowing. So it is possible that the water can flow in the same direction or the water can flow in the opposite direction, right? So when water flows in the same direction, so when water flows in the same direction, so the boat is going towards the right, the water is also going towards the right. So obviously their speed gets added up. So when the boat is going towards the right and the water is also going towards the right, so their speed combines, right? So the boat will go very fast. So that is the case of downstream. That is the case of downstream, right? So in downstream, the speed adds. And if the speed adds, so obviously the speed is more, so it will take less time. So the time reduces. I hope this should be clear. So when the boat is going downstream, that means the flow of the current, the flow of the water is in conjunction with the boat. So the speed increases, the overall speed increases. So if the speed increases, then obviously the time reduces, right? And the upstream is opposite. So upstream means that when the boat is going towards one direction and the water is from the opposite direction, the speed of the water, the direction of the water is from the opposite direction, then in that case the speed of the boat obviously reduces because somebody is resisting, right? So if the boat is going towards this side and the water is coming towards this side, so obviously the overall speed reduces. So in that case the speed is less, and if the speed is less, then obviously the time taken to travel will be more. So this is a basic idea about downstream and upstream, and I hope this should be pretty clear, right? I mean, I don't think there should be any doubt in this. Okay, so now let's move forward, right? So now we know that the total distance is 90 miles, right? And the upstream, the average speed is v minus 3. So distance is equals to 90, right? And what is the, and you can see from here that upstream the average speed is v minus 3. V can be any constant, we don't know right now. And the downstream the speed is more. In this case it is v minus 3. In downstream the speed is v plus 3. So you can see the speed in downstream is more than the speed in upstream, which is pretty obvious, right? So we can also derive one thing from here, that the average speed of downstream is more, right? So the time taken will be less in downstream and the time taken in upstream will be more. So that is why it said that the trip upstream took 30 more minutes. That means in upstream the time taken is more, right, as compared to downstream. So that is why, this should make sense, right? Okay, so now the distance is 90, right? And for the upstream the average speed is v minus 3. So average speed is how much? V minus 3, right? So what will be the time? The time taken will be 90 upon v minus 3. I hope this should be absolutely clear, right? So the time taken during upstream will be 90 upon v minus 3. Okay, now let's talk about downstream. So distance will again be 90, right? Obviously the distance remains the same. The average speed is how much? Average speed is v plus 3. So the average speed is how much? V plus 3, right? So time will be how much? The time taken will be 90 upon v plus 3. I hope this should be very clear, right? Perfect. So now we know that the time taken for upstream is this and the time taken for downstream is this. So if we subtract both of them, we should get 30 minutes, right? So we subtract the upstream because this is big, right? Because this is denominator, the denominator in this is less. So this will be more and the denominator in this is more. So the entire value will be less, right? So obviously this is greater. So what we do over here is that 90 upon v minus 3 minus 90 upon v plus 3, right, is equals to how much time? 30 more minutes, right? 30 more minutes. So we can write 30 upon 60, which is 1 upon 2, because we always deal in hours, right? So 30 minutes means half hour, like 1 by 2 hours. I hope this should be fine, right? So let's do one thing. Now let's just solve this and we'll get an answer. So if we, for example, take v minus 3, v plus 3 common. So over here we can take 90 common, right? So we will get v plus 3 minus v plus 3. I hope all this should be pretty common, pretty simple, right? So if you solve this, v and v gets cancelled. 90 into 6, 3 plus 3 6, 6 to the 12, 12 9 the 1080. So this comes out to be that v square minus 9 is equals to 1080, right? That means v square is how much? V square is equals to 1089. 1089. V square comes out to be 1089. I think you can solve this pretty easily. You'll be able to get it. So V square is equals to 1089. So V is how much? I think 33. Right? Because 33, 33. 3 is a 9, 3 is a 9, 9, 9, 9, 18. Yeah, 1089. So V comes out to be 33. Right? And we were asked to calculate how many hours did it take to travel downstream, right? So for downstream, this was the time, right? So time is, this was upstream, this was downstream. So for downstream, the time is how much? The time is 90 upon v plus 3. What is v plus 3? V plus 3 is 33 plus 3, 36. I hope this should be clear. So this is how much? 2. This comes out to be, I think, 2.5. So this is your answer, right? Because 9 tens are, 9 fours are. Yeah, so 2.5, right? So the time comes out to be 2.5. So how many hours did it take to travel downstream? It took 2.5 hours to travel downstream. I hope this should be clear, pretty simple.